Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another PCM repair or test video before repairs. This is for Ian Hanson in California. I got his business card in here, which I'm going to cover some of his information for obvious reasons. All right, so he sent his computer because it's a crank, no start, no fuel pump. So I have his email on the screen. I'm gonna go a little backwards so I don't show because I got his address and phone number and everything in there, but it says, hi, um, the engine serial is A199463. The boat is a 2012 Chaparral 327SSX twin Volvo Penta 8.1 GSI. The port side engine never run after getting boat back from the repair shop. They replaced part of the outdrive. I have no confidence on the repair, so I never took it back. Engine cranks, but does not fire up. I noticed that when I switch on the ignition, the fuel pump on that side doesn't power up. I saw a fuel pump relay from good engine with no change. If I jump the relay, the fuel pump powers up, but the engine still does not run. I checked the ECU signal to the relay. There is no signal coming from the ECU. I swapped the ECU from the starboard to port. Engine now runs. I don't have the availability to scan the engine. The helm display recognizes the ECU dot. And again, his name. All right, so as I usually do, got everything ready to go. And I have the selection. This is a 2012, so we need to connect with the EGC CAN or 4G CAN for this type of modules. And this is his computer. So I have everything connected. I have a multimeter connected to one of the firewall reference. So let's power up and let's take a look at the main power relay and the fuel pump relay to reproduce one of our first concern. Okay, no relay activations as he mentioned, so that is a no good. One good thing is that we have firewall reference. So let's click in connection. This is a newer computer, so it should be very quick, and it is. So we have communication. All right, let's retrieve fault codes. And then we can go into codes. And it says that we have exhaust manifold water temperature. These are active, so that means they're uh, done here. And obviously, because I got none of this connected, it says that we have a TCP1 sensor fault, water in drive oil, or input short to voltage. Neither of those are connected because I only have the TPS connected. As you see, I don't have the throttle body. To run it momentarily, I don't need it. Uh, if I run a computer like this, it should run for at least 4 to 5 seconds, and then that will be a normal thing unless I wanted to run it fully. Then I will have to connect a throttle body and everything, which I do have. But when I'm doing a test for a computer, there is a no run, a no start, no crank, no start, no fuel pump. This is usually what I do to see if we have communication, if it's a shorted computer, and see what we find. So I have the signals ready to go for this to test. So I'm going to press the start. And yeah, definitely it's not running. So let's go over to the ECM data. And yes, the ECM is actually reading RPM. So we can see right here, engine RPM, and it's saying that the engine is running in runtime of 30 seconds. Of course, I just run it. Everything, firewall reference is okay. Engine relay driver status is okay. So for the computer, even the fuel pump related driver status is good, but we can see that that is indeed not the case. So yes, I am able to reproduce your concerns. Ian, I will be contacting you shortly to go with the process of the repair, give you an estimate of what I need to fix your computers, and then go from there. All right, guys, this is just a short test that I usually do for computers like this, first time customer, to reproduce his concern and then make sure the problem is in actually the computer and not on the boat or the harness. All right, but we can definitely see that If I stop this, see those are the signals for the cam and the crank. If I turn this off, now we have no RPM, and now it says engine run timer 0 because it's not running. So the computer can see that it has a crank sensor signal coming in, but it's not activating coils or injectors, and we don't have main power relay or fuel pump relay. And this is something that I want to point, because when I fix this, this is the first thing that you're going to notice. Main power relay coming on, fuel pump relay, and obviously injectors and coils, right? But again, just a short video for the first part. I will contact him and we go from there. All right, guys, I got the approval from Ian and I have the computer repaired. I just want to also show before I do the test, the computer open, and then I cover Ian's information. Yes, his name is showing and he's from Santa Clarita, California. Computer is off right now. So the first thing that I want to show is main power relay and fuel pump activation. So power up now, and we have that. Fuel pump should go away in a brief second, and it does. So that is immediately a good hint that the computer is now working properly, because this was one of the first things that was not right on this computer, even though the computer was showing as driver okay. And Ian was asking me, can you please tell me what was wrong in the computer? Well, it's hard to say, well, what it caused the damage. It is hard to say because what I'm replacing on this computer is an IC that is in charge of the fuel pump driver and also the analog to digital converter. This is also a programmable IC, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it because there is no checksum errors or anything as far as programming. So things that can happen. Well, let's say a dead battery and somebody trying to crank and crank and crank, or or try to start a boat when it's too low. For his notes, this was in a repair shop, so I am just doing assumptions. I cannot say that if this is exactly what it caused the problem, but if they crank and crank the engine to start it, and that battery was low compared to the starboard side engine, that could cause this problem. The other thing that I noticed is the connector has a little sign of water intrusion. So let me turn this off. Actually, I do have, well, I already turned it off. I have another computer here. This is what I call guinea pig, right? So let me get some light so we can see that better. So these are guinea pigs that were abandoned due to no repair, but all I want to show is these connectors. It's very, very easy on these type of computers to get water through the connector, through the harness inside the computer. So things that you want to do, Ian, is to check that connector on the port and also on the starboard, because that doesn't mean that can happen on there. This is the way the connector looks, and obviously it has a cover and everything, but if water can enter, will enter through the connector and on the pins. So you can use dielectric grease, but only on the outside. So let me go back to, I got another computer from another customer here. So put the grease on the outside, like on the connector harness, right, so on the outside. So when you plug it in, it's not really inside the pins. And try to renew the tape, electrical tape. I will, even if I put electrical tape, what I usually do is I tape really good here, and then when I'm closing into an area on the harness where it's just cables, I put dielectric grease and I do that on top of the dielectric grease, so to stop the water to enter the connector. That is on boats number one failure on computers, and I did see a little bit of a sign on this computer, not corroded, but also water intrusion in there. So all right, so let me power this back on. We're going to see same thing, fuel pump and everything working good. So let's establish communication. Fiber reference is there. So let me reestablish communication because this was already going. A thing that I have in here, since this is a 2012, the throttle or helm lever is network share. So I can only run this computer for maybe 10 seconds. And if I shut it off, it will run again. We saw before that this was not running, so I'm going to run it. and we can see immediately injection and everything going, and it powers off. But that is not because it's anything wrong, it's because I don't have the entire connection, because this is a CAN bus share information, so I will have to connect everything. But I want to do is now do a zoom so we can see the RPMs in a bigger window, so we can see this from the distance. So when I run the boat again, because it's going to start, hopefully you guys can see that in there. But yeah, we can see the coils in here and look at the injector time. So that is good. And it runs every single time. Again, it's completely normal. And we can see the RPM in there. But if I turn it off, turn it back on, and now I'm gonna have to reset it because after 3 or 4 attempts, it will set up a fault for TCP1, which is on the throttle lever, right? So, but again, you see if I let it a little bit, it runs for like 10 seconds. So if I reset the computer, it runs every single time. No more problems. This computer is now 100% repair. Again, one more time. We can see injectors and coils because we have injectors here and coils on the top. So I'm not sure you know how much the camera erased because of the frames per second recording, but so these are coils and these are injectors, right? So one more time, and then we have coils and injectors, all right? So if I turn it off, turn it one more time, coils, injectors, all good, and I turn it off. So now I lost communication because I'm turning on and off and on and off, but this was again a no run computer, never started on him. So let me just um, erase the fault codes. Oh, I have to establish communication. Yeah, computer is on, so let me reconnect because by doing it so many times, it loses communication. Am I gonna have to close this right here? I just turned it off so many times doing the crank and start. That is not uncommon for that to not, to lose no response from the cable received. Give me 1 second because I think it's Diacom. So let me push the connectors. All right, guys, I established communication back on. So we are here now connected. So let me run the computer one more time so we can see that. And we can see again, injection coils, everything working good in there. I'm going to turn the computer off so we can see that we lost communication in there. But as soon as I turn it back on, if you pump my power relay, it should sync and synchronize good. And sometimes the Diacom cable is not recognized on the back of the computer, but that doesn't mean that anything is bad. So this computer is now 100% repaired. It's starting and running every single time. And one good thing that we didn't have before for Ian is fuel pump activation instantly happening. So that is again all good. One last time for the video and turn them off again for the reason that not having the throttle actuator, which is in this case, it looks like it's network speed share. So this is a 2012. Obviously, boats are getting more and more at the speed and technology, and those are why sometimes I requested more from boat or a vehicle in order to properly do the test. But that all depends on what am I testing the computer for. In this case, no crank, or sorry, a crank, no start, no fuel pump with communication. Now we are showing that the computer is now fully responsive and we have coils and injectors and fuel pump. All right, Ian, and all of you, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.